What's up, everyone? Kaifus here again with another guide for you today. Today I'm doing my updated Revolver Commissar guide. Now, as most of you probably have seen, our talent tree is not in the best of spots, but after a few days of trying to figure out a way to make this work, which was incredibly frustrating, I have finally found a Revolver build that is actually good, and it can do a lot of work even with the crazy things the director is doing now. So I'll walk you through the build, the talents, and the curios that I'm using today, and basically how we've had to adapt to the new patch. Hopefully Fat Shark will actually fix our talent soon and we won't have to deal with such a bloated tree. But in the meantime, I hope this tides you over and gives you a little bit of hope that we are still badasses and we can still carry these games. So join me in the Psychanium and I'll show you how the build works. Welcome to the Psychanium, everybody, and I'm going to show you a little teaser of what this monster of a build can do. I'm very excited to show you today, so strap yourselves in for this. Now that I've got your attention, let's go through the build, the talents, and why we're able to do ridiculous stuff like this. And for those of you that are wondering, yes, I am standing still. Yes, I have Marksman's Focus. This is not an issue. I'll explain in the build. So let's just jump right into it. I'm actually going to go over the talents first because most of you that click on this, I think, mostly just want to see the tree, try it out for yourself. So here is the quick overview. If you just want to copy the build, give it a try, that's totally fine. Thank you for joining me. But I will be going through this a little bit more in detail, so let's go ahead and get into it. So to start off with, we're taking long shot. This is mostly a preference of mine. You can also go Vanguard and Tactical Reload. But the main thing that we need to have is one of these two reload talents. Without one of these two reload talents, you're really going to struggle with loading your weapon while dodging and dealing melee damage and all that good stuff. Just make sure you take at least one of these. Next up, we're taking crack grenades. I'm not a huge fan of this. They are currently bugged. They won't always do damage for some reason, but Fat Shark has been pretty good about fixing these things. The other bug talent I just want to briefly mention, don't ever take Exhilarating Takedown until Fat Shark fixes it, because right now it doesn't give you toughness damage reduction. It actually increases the damage you take. Fat Shark is aware of this, and they will be fixing it in the next patch, but until the next patch, please don't take this. It's just going to make your life miserable. Same thing with crack grenades. They do still work. They're still crack grenades. Just sometimes they just don't do damage for whatever reason. But we have to take it, otherwise we don't have enough points. The main reason we're taking crack grenade is to get easy access to this node, believe it or not. Yes, I'm actually using a node as an important part of a build. 10% melee damage. 10% melee damage is very substantial. I don't think any other class in the game has a node that gives them this much. And we're pairing that with Agile Engagement. Now, Agile Engagement, we are taking it same as we did in the build for patch 14, but this is a little different. So we're mostly going to be using this for our melee weapon this time. We don't actually need it for our revolver to do the crazy damage that I just showed you. As you can see in that clip, I killed all 5 crushers without Agile Engagement up. So Agile Engagement is still really, really good. But Agile Engagement paired with this node means if we are in melee, we pull out a revolver, shoot one Poxwalker, for 5 seconds, we have 35% melee damage. It really helps with hacking your way through hordes or killing ragers, all that kind of good stuff that we really want to keep away from us so we can use our revolver to support our team. Then we're taking Fire Team. This is also, again, just because of points. If I had my way, I would love to do this build with Agile Engagement, Frag Grenades, and Survivalist. You just can't. You just don't have enough points. So we take Fire Team. It's not a bad aura. It's still pretty good, but, you know, kind of meh compared to Survivalist. Then we're going to be taking Demolition Stockpile just so we have some form of grenade regen. I find it's usually better to give grenades to your Ogrins and Zealots than it is to pick them up yourself. Well, when you're running crack grenades anyway. Then we're taking Voice of Command with Duty and Honor. You should always take Duty and Honor if you take Voice of Command. Only in Death does Duty End. I would say is optional, but with how starved for points we are right now, I would caution you against taking it. It's not that useful. Then further down in the tree, the thing most of you are probably wondering, why are we taking this? This can't be reliable. Well, I'm here to tell you it is, and I'm just as surprised as you are. So I'm going to talk about Marksman's Focus first. Ranged weak spot kills grant 3 stacks of focus, up to a max of 10 stacks. Sprinting, sliding, and walking removes stacks. Now, that wording kind of makes it sound like you lose all your stacks as soon as you move. That's not the case. You lose them one at a time. And if you read further down, ranged weak spot kills let you move without losing stacks for 3 seconds. So as long as we're hitting headshots, we can keep this up most of the game. And it's actually not that hard to do, especially with this, camouflage. Now, standing still in Darktide is usually a death sentence, right? But standing still for 2 seconds to get 2 stacks combined with a headshot, now we're at 5 stacks. And that is enough to one-shot a mauler to the head. I think you need 8 or 9 to one-shot the Crusher. I'm not super sure. But if you have 5 stacks up, flick to a Crusher, shoot that one twice, the next one you shoot will die in one hit, which is incredibly useful and incredibly reliable. So now I've gone over the Keystone. The other talents, Deadshot, obviously, we want this with the Revolver. The crit synergizes really well with the rending from hand cannon. You have to take it. Take Deadshot, please. It's too good to pass up. We also take Precision Strikes because 30% damage is 30% damage. We love it. It's great on melee weapons. Works really well with our axe. Works really well with our Revolver. Perfect. We're taking Determined because the other one is useless to us. It won't do anything. And then I do want to talk a little bit about Always Prepared. Now, it's taken me about a week to get this build out to y'all because I couldn't figure out a way to make it work. But the main issue I was running into was a lack of damage, and that lack of damage led to a lack of ammo because I couldn't take Survivalist. And even if I did take it, it wasn't giving me enough ammo back since I had to shoot things so many more times. But with Always Prepared and the sheer lethality of this build, you're not going to run out of ammo. It also lets you get 10 bullets back whenever you pick up a small ammo, which is 2 full reloads. That's actually a pretty big difference compared to the 8 you would get without it. Big ammo packs will give you even more. I haven't tested it, but you pick up a big ammo pack, you're going to be fine for a while. Then for the nodes, I would have loved to take 10% damage reduction because we are pretty squishy with this build, but we just can't. We need to take the stamina regen boost just because we're using Deadshot and we don't have any other stamina regen talents so that we can afford to take with this build. So you do need this node. And then we take Superior Complex and Marksman. Now you might think like, oh, Marksman, obviously we're just taking that for Marksman's Focus. Yes and no. Marksman, it lasts for 10 seconds, gives us 20% power on weak spot hits, and our Voice of Command is a 30-second cooldown, minus 6 seconds for every specialist we kill. So if we kill 2 specialists after we pop our Voice of Command, we can shout again as soon as it's up, if we kill 3 specialists, then we'll have Marksman's Focus up that entire time. It is actually an enormous damage boost that I think is kind of slept on. So that is the synergies in this build that make it work. We take Always Prepared to not run out of ammo. We take Superiority Complex because we need this elite damage in order to hit those breakpoints, so we're not using so much ammo to kill things. We take Marksman mostly because we have to, but also because it synergizes really well with Voice Command. And Marksman's Focus is what gives you the damage that we need to make the Revolver build work. The other talents do not give you enough. I've tried it. Focus Target doesn't give you enough. It also only applies to a single target at a time, so if a bunch of Ragers are charging you, it'll only do damage to the first one. Do the extra damage to the first one. But with this, we can two-shot a group of Ragers and kill like 8 of them. It's pretty nasty. So anyway, that's the build for the loadout real quickly. Melee weapon, it doesn't super matter what you take, but there are some weapons I would say just don't work with this. And that would be the combat knife and the chain sword. I haven't tested the chain axe. I think it would probably have the same issue. But from our melee weapon, we only really need 2 things. The ability to deal with Ragers and the ability to deal with Hordes. As long as your melee weapon can do that, it will work in this build. For our Zerona, it's exactly the same as our previous build back in patch 14. But one thing I will note, I don't think that the Carapace is always going to be necessary. Sure, it lets us hit that cool one-shot breakpoint, but if crack grenades functioned like they were supposed to, we wouldn't necessarily need it, and we could swap it out for either flak armor or specialist damage, and specialist damage would let us one-shot trappers to the body and also always kill flamers in 2 hits, even if we miss their head, and we don't get crits. So I'm not going to say that Carapace is the way to go forever. It is just the way to go right now while crack grenades are bugged. For our Curios, the only difference is we're going to be taking a max health instead of one of our 2 toughness. We're still taking a 3 stamina and a 17 toughness for the other ones. And for the perks, it doesn't matter what you bring, just bring stamina regen. As you can see, this one doesn't have it. I'm going to go slap it on after this. But having 3 stamina regen Curios with Deadshot, with that stamina regen node, it actually makes it so it's not that painful at all. It actually feels very similar to how it used to. So, thank you for checking out my guide. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I do read all the comments, and I try to reply to all of them as quickly as I can. I hope to be bringing y'all more content in the near future. I will be on vacation in this week, but when I come back, I've got a few very spicy builds to share with y'all. So as always, go out there and slay some heretics. Kaifus out.